Let's move on real quick. I want to recap Taylor and Catterall. I feel like it wasn't a exact mimic of the first fight, but it was a really close fight, much closer than the first.
I didn't think so.
You didn't think it was close?
I didn't think it was close.
I had
think it
an
was close.
8-4. I had 8-4.
I had 8-4.
But I still thought it was. I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah. I had it 9-3.
9-3, yeah? Where you wrong?
Yeah.
Perception.
I would have been okay with
this is boxing.
Damn.
I would have been.
That
I
gets
would have
tricky.
been.
Yeah.
I would have been.
11-1?
I wouldn't have been that mad. I wouldn't have been. I'm just being honest. It's not like I'm Josh Taylor. I said this yesterday too. There's been less than 10 men that have ever been undisputed champion in the 4-belt era. So like massive respect to Josh Taylor, because as soon as things start to go south with fighters, like but people, society, they just dogpile, and it's like he's already accomplished something great that you can never take from him. So it's not like I'm dogpiling. Oh, he only won one round. He only won 2 or 3 rounds. But like I was really scoring the fight as I'm watching it and doing my little round by round. And 3, 7, 9, and 10 were the 4 rounds I thought you could maybe score for Taylor. But I thought even out of those 4 rounds that they were very competitive and could have went to Jack Catterall.
I agree.
And we can't get caught up in
3, 7,
9 and 10.
Yeah.
And we can't get caught up in comparison rounds.
Yeah.
Just because Catterall in some of the rounds is clearly winning the round, and then in other rounds it's very competitive, doesn't mean Taylor's actually winning
Taylor
them.
winning the round.
Right.
Very true. Very true.
And so I kind of thought it was that kind of fight.
Yeah.
I mean, just Josh's. He looked like an old 33, and it's odd because it's not like he's been in some tough fights. Brenagh, Regis Prograis, Ramirez, the 2 Catterall fights, T.O., but it's not like he's taken a whole lot of punishment.
I thought the same thing.
He's only had 21 professional fights, but he feels like an old 33. And one thing that has been a bit of an issue for him is he's a tall 140, but he's never had a great jab.
Yeah.
He's a tough Scotsman. He likes to get into mid to close range and fight. He wants to dog you out and put combinations together. And in those combinations, he could throw a nice straight left hand, but for the most part, he's not a rangy 1-2 long range guy, despite what his frame looks like.
Yep.
And so Catterall always had this straight left hand that gave him problems, but this time Catterall mixed in more. And in the second half of the fight, when Taylor got where he wanted to get to, real estate-wise, Catterall gave as good as he got, and still out-jabbed him all 12 rounds. So, yeah.
And it's crazy because if you look back just a year ago, Shawn, to date, he's still, pound for pound.
Wow.
But 1 fight, 2 losses. Now he's an old 33-year-old. And I'm not just
right.
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
I'm like, what happened to the guy that we thought we was going to see going into the T.O. fight?
Yeah.
It's like T.O. took so much from him, or was that just where he was going?
I slightly disagree with calling him a old 33.
Okay.
Because I'm watching the fight. I don't think he's an old 33. His timing's a little off, but it ain't crazy off. It's just a little off. You know what I mean? And then it seemed like he's a little gun shy as well, but not straight just gun shy. Like I ain't throwing nothing. It's like
what changed in a year?
So Tim kept saying it the whole fight. He's like, "Yo, it's just weight. He can't keep sucking down to 140."
Yeah, that too.
I truly do believe that if he goes up to 147 and there's a nourished 147-pound fighter, he's got the height for it. We can see that he's got strength for the weight class. I'm not saying he's going to become a world champion at 147, but getting down to 140, shit just ain't clicking the same. And that weight, things might just start clicking the way it's supposed to at 147. So I was analyzing that. I'm like, it's not that fight. That fight didn't take it out of him. I think Tim's on it. I think Tim is saying it right. I think that he's sucking it out of himself by going to that weight class.
Is he a tweener though? Kind of like, I mean, that's
clearly a tweener.
Right. Where he's too big for 140.
Like 154.
But not, I don't know, at 147, are those guys going to be too naturally strong for him? And, kind of like it's an antiquated notion in basketball, but before there were these tweeners. He's too tall to play small forward, but he's not big enough to play power forward.
Right.
And that right.
Yeah, he's a tweener, and I think the other thing that doesn't work to his favor, the fact that he is tall and long, but likes to get up on guys.
Yeah.
There's no secret to his madness, and you'll get found out, and he'll might even get clipped at 147 because you know that power change from 135 140. There's just this weird power change at 147.
Yeah, because he was really durable.
But last night he was there for the left hook.
It was like this overhand left.
I'm like, my man.
Yeah.
Like it's just
see, those were the things I'm talking about. Like you see it, but you're not reacting. Your reaction time is off. But 21 fights. Something don't make sense. So what I look at is it's got to be the weight. If you ain't been in a whole bunch of wars, Teo got the best of them. But Teo ain't beat him down.
It was a master class.
Yeah, the fight with Regis, that was back and forth. They was going toe to toe, but it didn't seem like he suffered damage in that fight, you know? So 21 fights, no true damage that we can see, that I can see, we can see. What do you look at? I personally just look at the weight. Get out of 140.
And gotta give credit to Jack Catterall too.
Absolutely.
Because
absolutely
styles make fights. Yeah. And unlike Regis Prograis, Jose Ramirez, Baranchek, he wasn't gonna stay there and willingly exchange and do all. He's a counterpuncher. Southpaw gives half his body. Yeah. You know, those guys always looked really irritating to deal with. So he took it. A lot of his strengths worked to Josh's weaknesses, and he's not fighting Josh at his peak anymore in both fights. You know, even though he was the undisputed champion coming into the first fight, it's just clear to me that he isn't operating on the same level he was during his run to become undisputed at 140. You know,
and even with that, I feel like Josh might have been sleeping on him in the first fight.
Yo, he was
came ready to fight in the second one, but you got a fighter that's ready to really win this one because of the way the first one ended. You know what I mean? So, it was a good fight, though.
Either one of these guys get a shot at a title?
I'm not crazy about Catterall either.
I know. I think
he could be awkward enough to get
the Matias fight. He's up there in the rankings. I think
he's up there. I think he's up for Teo, which
Teo. Okay.
I mean, Teo is just more of a athletic force of nature than Jack Catterall and a much better puncher. But
you got another counter puncher in front of you.
Exactly.
You got another counter puncher in front of you.
Sandor Martin gave him tons of issues with that.
I'm thinking our guy Bill Haney gonna grab one of these guys for a comeback fight.
I think
I'm dead serious.
Yeah. No, I think like Devin right now, and I guess we'll get to the B sample stuff later, but Devin may be on his way to actually getting his O back, right? But and I think inevitably you got to do the rematch with Ryan. You got to do the Miguel Cotto
because we're never gonna forget the beating.
Yes,
I'm never gonna forget that beating.
Even and Cotto, but when because I know a lot of people jumped out and they're like, you know, Devin needs to, you know, be like Miguel Cotto and get it back in blood in the ring. I agree, but Cotto took 4 years before that rematch came again, and in those 4 years, stabilized himself, regained his confidence, regained his mojo.
Right.
And Sandor Martin and Jack Catterall are the perfect two opponents for Devin to do just that.
Yeah.
Because they're going to test his skills at a high level.
Yeah.
But Devin can take some punches to say, okay, I got hit and I'm okay. I can still do this. And it's not against a dangerous puncher like Matias or Cruz or Teo or Ryan right away in a rematch. So I think those guys, you still have to be on your P's and Q's because they got world-class skills, but they're not hard-hitting punchers, so you can test your chin back out, get your legs back underneath you.
Hey, quick question. What happened to that Miguel Cotto fight? Did he get an L? Or?
So, no, he lost. I mean, it never
changed nothing?
Well, he didn't get caught. Margarito did until the Shane Mosley fight. Okay. And so you can't retroactively prove because you got caught in this fight that you didn't in that fight. But Cotto famously sat down at the table with him and said, "Why is it? Why,
first time I've seen an iPad."
Right.
I don't know.
But you know, Catterall is a tough style matchup for Teo.
Yeah.
I think you got to favor Teo because he's Teo.
Yeah.
But but he's struggled with this style.
Yeah.
So
yeah.